I don't think I'll ever buy another tube amp now, thanks to this pedal. And he was referring to one of the latest pedals that Universal Audio came out with, but there were other pedals like that previous to it. I mean, we had and he's actually writing about it. He's saying we had the Walrus ACS, we had the Strymon Iridium, which is very popular among people who want a only pedalboard setup. And then, and he says, well, for him, the game was always very clear. He has his Marshall, he has a few pedals, and now, thanks to this pedal, he's never going back to playing a real amp. So he claims. What's your take on this? Do you think we are going to see more people migrating to pedal-only kind of setups? And I'm asking this because I recently also saw that the Edge of U2 said the same thing, where he, for the shows they did in Las Vegas, I believed, he ditched all of his amps, and he just went with this pedalboard-only setup. Do you think we're going to see more of that over time?
I think for gigging musicians, this might be like the way forward in the next few years. I have a few things like this. I have the Thermion Freeway, which is like an analog kind of amp in a box thing, which is super versatile, and it's incorporating like the benefits of digital with analog. I also have the Carl Martin Ampster, which is a tube-based preamp. Kind of does the whole like Fender clean type of tone. If I'm going to compare that with an amp in the room, of course, there's going to be like a huge plus for a tube amp. But let's say I was going out tomorrow doing a tour and I have to pay all the stuff myself for the shipping and all this stuff. I don't want to bring like a tube amp. There's no way I want to do that, right? They're heavy, they're costly. Yeah. But if I have like, I don't know, a 12-week gig with a band and I can just put everything in a bag, bring it at the airport with me, I would probably go with that. Especially if it sounds good. Like the audience doesn't say like, that sounds like a Mickey Mouse guitar. Like, what's this guy playing through? If it doesn't do that, if it sounds good and everyone compliments you on the sound, why not?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening, especially since, I mean, I know a lot of people migrated to modeling units, and even professional acts. So in the beginning, it was just like the smaller and medium-sized acts because they could economize on the whole logistics. Obviously, if you can travel with a rack, I know the guy who is. Do you know the German metal band Creator? Have you heard of them?
Yep.
I know the guy who is the guitar tech or like general tech for them, and they went on a tour in South America, and the only thing they had with them was a rack of Campers. That's it. That's the only thing they needed, and actually, because the drummer was playing to a click, they didn't even have to make adjustments or changes during the set to their to the rig. It was all just controlled via a laptop, and the laptop was sending MIDI signals to the, which is kind of a dangerous game. I used to be a step-in a band that was doing that as well, so it was like all in ear. The light show was completely completely controlled by the computer. So the computer was kind of the most important part of the band, which I find to be a dangerous game, because if the computer at some point decides to stop working, how are you going to play your set? It's going to be pretty impossible to do that. But yeah, and then at some point, or now we're at a point where a band like Metallica, which is arguably one of the biggest bands, not only metal, but any in the world. I mean, they sell out stadiums. They're on tour with Axe-Fx's.
Yeah.
Because it's more convenient for them, and they get the same sound every night, and they don't need to have like the whole maintenance thing. You don't see their technicians swapping tubes on their amps, because it's just like switch it on, and it sounds like yesterday. So
Yep.
yeah, I agree. If it sounds good, then definitely go for it. Plus, to be 100% honest, I think 90% or 95% of the people in the audience do not hear the difference.
No. I went to see Rammstein this past summer,
Oh,
and there
how
wasn't
was it?
an amplifier on stage at all, and everything sounded killer, right? So this is where we're at. We're at a point where
Mm,
if we're going to be comparing like the analog gear to the digital modeler stuff, of course, like in the room, you can tell one sounds pre-recorded while the other one sounds live. But as soon as you put
yeah,
a microphone in front of your guitar amp, like you level the playing field here. And for
yeah,
musicians, we have to think of how this industry works, right? The venue wants to make money off of you. Your touring agent wants to make money off of you. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie from you. So now if you
yeah,
have to pay someone else and you're not making any money, that means you have to take care of bringing your own rig, setting it up,
yeah,
getting it fixed, the whole thing. Now, if you can have something like this, your amp goes down. Well, you can have 2, 3 of them. Just pop one out of the bag, put it there, and you're back on track. You don't have to wait
yeah,
for the tubes to warm up. You don't have to get it biased. There's a lot of like really forward thinking with this, but I think the industry and the way everyone is kind of like eating off of whatever musicians are making is forcing musicians to downsize the gear that they use so that it doesn't cost them too much money.